Hello everybody and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program, where, it was clearly a bug. I restarted the game, or technically this is a new recording session, so I reloaded up the game, and it's no longer claiming that there's 1500 Ghost Delta V up here, so that is fine, I guess. So we are currently on this trajectory here, and I'm not going to claim that that's a great trajectory to be on, but we are out of fuel for this. Now, I did expect to need to refuel this, but this is going to be quite the refueling operation. I was really hoping to get this over Minimus, but alas, we can't do that for now. But what we can do is we can refuel it once, which should give it enough Delta V to put it over Minimus. And also to put us back in 4K, which is, just perfect. Okay, SP, how I wish you didn't do that. Okay, so let's go ahead and head over to our tracking station here. And we need to head to our Minimus station here. Now, there's the aging Minimus satellite there, but we'll deal with that in a bit. We need to go to our fuel hauler, which is currently landed at Minimus. Okay. Actually, let's go to our Minimus Space Station core. Let's see what we've got there right now. We may need to do a quick mining operation. Well, we're almost certainly going to have to refuel this thing. And that's something that, oh, hello 4K. You look so good, but alas, not yet. Not yet. Okay, so we've got this fuel tank here, and that will, I think, do the trick. We're going to turn SAS off so that we stop this wiggle, and we're going to go ahead and flow this fuel on down. That does, of course, mean that this station is currently going to be completely empty. Now, this is just a fuel ferry here. It's not meant to do anything else. What do we have on here for Monoprop? We have a little bit. So let's pin this open, close these two, and we'll just send our Monoprop, top that off. Fantastic. And we will need to make sure that these are fully fueled. That will be very, very necessary, of course. So let's just go ahead and fill it from the X32. Okay, that did get full. I was slightly concerned about that, if I'm honest. Slightly concerned, indeed. So we're going to send this on over. We're going to undock at our docking port. And we're going to turn RCS on. And slowly back away. And mute my phone. Thank you. Get out of here, phone. No one likes you. Okay, so with us moving out, we are going to set up to attempt to intersect this. So, to that end, we're going to need to burn sometime, I think, around here. Kind of like this. Bring that down. This timing doesn't look quite right. Bring that down to somewhere around there, but maybe not quite that big. Yeah, about like that. That should do the trick. So we'll turn our SAS on. We cannot lock to maneuver with this guy. We do have a Clampatron docking port. Oh, this doesn't have a docking port, Junior. That's interesting. We can fix that. Okay, so we're going to need to rendezvous first. That's our power levels. Our power levels are okay. Is our SAS not on here? Ah, this is on SAS only. We'll set that to normal and turn that wheel authority on up. And the reaction wheels are disabled. There we go. Now we'll have some reaction wheels on this. And we'll just line up for our maneuver here. Excellent. And we will go ahead and warp towards that. Excellent. So this should be a pro-grade burn. I believe it's a pure pro-grade burn. And we have about 6,000 delta V in this. We can also potentially utilize this engine to get to Eve more efficiently, but we'll see how much delta V this gives our craft. We'll need to keep in mind that we'll need to keep some delta V to get this thing back to Minimus, probably somewhere around 800-ish. So that's something to note. We'll need to burn this at T-minus 14 seconds, and we will go ahead and warp towards that. And we'll burn this now. This engine is disabled. We'll activate that engine. Okay, there we go. And off we go. Slightly late on that, but that should be fine. This doesn't need to be tremendously precise to get us approximately where we need to go. So this will catapult us back to... what is this doing? Okay, just checking. That'll catapult us back approximately to there. That'll be fine. So let's go ahead and focus on Kerbin for now. And at this periapsis, we are going to go ahead and encapsulate... Actually, not quite at the periapsis. More like here, we're going to encapsulate this. Now, our inclination is really, really wrong when we do it like this. So let's not do that. We can set this as our target, and we can see here that our inclination is actually not terrible. 5 hours to there versus like 9 days to there. Okay, we can go ahead and change at the ascending node here, our plane. And that is, in fact, exactly what we will do. This is our ascending node, so we will need to... That overshot. Okay. Not much delta V required for this. There. 2 meters per second. Nice. And I believe that was anti-normal? So let's position for that. Yeah, close enough. And we'll go ahead and warp to anti-normal, or rather to the ascending node, which will be in about 4 hours. Excellent. We know this is going to be a minuscule amount of DV, and I'm not going to use this maneuver. Okay. Actually, yeah, we are going to use this maneuver. Never mind, I changed my mind on that one. We know this is a minuscule amount of DV, though, so we are going to go ahead and bring this on down to about T-minus 5 seconds here, and then we're just going to do a very slow burn as we change our inclination here. Good enough. Okay, if we tried to intercept this right now, what would that actually look like? We're fairly close. Fairly close. Okay, awkward timing there for sure. Awkward, awkward, awkward. Okay. That's a separation of 1,000 kilometers, which seems like a lot. But I'm not actually going to claim that it is a lot. This timing is interesting, to be sure. What if we were to do this more like here? That... could work. Hello? What have we here? This is a big ol' relative speed difference. A big ol' relative speed difference. But that's a pretty close separation there. Another option would be to attempt to make our relative speed difference be much less. Not like that. I mean, any way we slice it, we're going to have to burn that relative speed off, right? But we could have it be more along the lines of that-ish. I don't like that encounter there. Or like that. That would be a separation of... How far? Like 200 kilometers? This would actually be much, much cheaper for us. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this. We can bring down our separation a pretty dramatic amount like that, and maybe a little bit more by burning radially. That's 16 kilometers, 9 kilometers. Eight. I think that's the best we can do. That does save us about 400 meters per second from the previous one, though. I like it. Let's go ahead and orient for that. And then as soon as we get there, we'll warp to it. I'm sure we could find a more efficient location to do this. As it is, this is going to end up costing about 500, almost 600 meters per second. It is a savings from the previous encounter that we found, but it's not a huge one. Like I said, I was really, really hoping that we would be able to get this into Minimus orbit, where this would be much more efficient. Okay, so we're going to not go over there. We're going to hold here and burn this at T minus 33.5 seconds. So let's go ahead and warp towards that. And we'll need to burn this now. I overshot it ever so slightly there, but not by much. So let's just get this refuel going. And we'll see how close we end up getting here. It should be pretty close. In theory. How much delta V do we actually need to get to Eve? We need to escape the Kerbal system, and then we need like 300, I think it was, for the inclination change, and then like 900 to get there, and then maybe... how much to stop? I think a minimum budget that I'd like to see is 2,000 delta V. Like, bare minimum. Maybe 2,500 would be safer. And on top of that, we need to have the braking fuel inside of our tanks, right? So we need to know how much delta V that was. Okay, I'm going to head on over here. This thing's pretty unwieldy while it's full of fuel. So I'll just bring that right on over and get these last 2 meters per second slowly and carefully. There we go. 1 meter per second to go here. That's fine. We're going to be 11 kilometers separated. So, right around, let's see here, that's 2 days, 5 hours, and 56 minutes, and 42 minutes. So, right around here-ish. Well, we know that we want it to be... Well, how much DV is this? This is 370. Okay, so we want to burn 370 meters per second, and we're just going to use this for timing, because it's going to need to be relative to our target, right? So we just want 370 meters per second. We don't care about the actual retrograde here. So we're just using this for timing. And this is going to be 1:39. We want this to end. Actually, this timing is perfect. So we're going to go into target retrograde, and we're going to warp straight on over. And of course, we're going to need to attach onto this the correct docking port. So that's going to be interesting. We need a Clampatron docking port junior on this, I believe. We'll double check that once we get there. Okay, so at T minus 49.5 seconds, we will commence this burn. So we'll head on over towards that. And we will burn this right about now. Excellent. You can see here, that is our ascent module about 13 kilometers away. So that's great. We are currently matching velocities with the target. We don't care about where this node is located here. We just want to kill our relative velocity. So we are burning target retrograde here. Again, this was just used to calculate how long this burn would be and when we wanted to burn it. We could have switched over to using the stopwatch for that, but we needed to know how long the burn was going to be anyway. We're about 8 kilometers away right now. We are going to need to do a get closer burn. That'll be just fine. In fact, we may need to do several. We're currently getting further away. This is expected. Excellent. About another 120 meters per second to burn here. I probably should have started this burn slightly earlier, but that's okay. As you can see here, towards target is starting to drift up towards our target retrograde. That is a good sign for us. And let's just kill that relative velocity down to... well, we no longer care about this maneuver node. Somewhere down to 0. Not exactly 0. It doesn't have to be exact, but this is good enough. And we are going to head on over to the towards target. And this thing is pretty unwieldy. There's no doubt about that one. But we don't expect this to just, like, whip around corners. This is a fuel tanker. Okay. Here we are, and we are going to burn towards that target. Something along the lines of that. I just want to pull this up here a little bit. Oh, our periapsis is in the atmosphere. Okay, so we're going to need to make sure that this is done before then. Luckily, we're at the apoapsis right now. So this is going to be a separation of 0.1 kilometers. That is really nice. We're going to warp to about here. And we're going to whip it on around to target retrograde. And we'll just let ourselves drift on in. We're about 3.1 kilometers out right now, moving in at something like 14.2 meters per second. It's not exact. We're not going exactly towards the target, but it's pretty close. 3 kilometers away, and we will begin warping in now that our turn is complete. And we're going to warp in a little faster than this. We are now about 2 kilometers away. 1 kilometer away. And I'm going to warp in a little further. Under 500 meters out. 250 meters out. And let's begin slowing it on down. Okay. Now, as we go in here, let's just go ahead and switch over here. You can see here we're just above the atmosphere here. This one is also just above the atmosphere. We have very little margin for error there. These are definitely Clampatron Docking Port Juniors. So, that of course means that we're going to need to put a Docking Port Junior onto this. So, let's go ahead and close in a little bit closer, and we can start using our RCS at this point. Let's just go to Pro Target. I do wish we had a better controller on this that we could point to the target and point to maneuver nodes. But alas, this was built before we had that technology. So let's just point at the target here, if we can stop this motion. Okay, and then we're going to move on in at a very gentle pace. Something along the lines of... That wasn't quite the angle I was hoping to get there. Bring it over to, like, here. Okay, we'll call that good. We'll now go to target prograde. And we'll control this with our RCS. So we can brake. Oh, I don't actually... I want to hold this attitude, guys. Can we stop wiggling? Here, let's just do this. There. Okay. We can brake with N, and that's exactly what we're going to do. Down to about 1 meter per second. I don't want to be using the RCS like this. Can we change that to... Okay, we're going to have to turn the SAS off, I think. That's fine. And then we're just going to bring this on in. We're about 50 meters out right now. We do need to be a little closer. Okay. I wouldn't mind having this be our target. And to that end, we're going to change our velocity. About like that. Okay. We're going to go back to prograde here. We're very close right now. But we shouldn't cause any damage if we impact like this. But I would prefer not to. Okay, let's just brake it a bit. 3, 2, 1. Okay, that's going to be as close as we're going to get right now. Unfortunately. So, we're going to hold here for the moment. We're going to swap over to here. We are going to have Sonden EVA as soon as we can. Sonden, you are going to let go. And you are going to head on out over this direction. And you're going to do a little bit of fancy construction out here. Okay, so go ahead and hold here. And we are going to grab this docking port, and we're going to temporarily move it over here. Great. Now we're going to grab this docking port, and we're going to temporarily move it right there. Great. Okay. And now we're going to go home. Of course, our ascent module is currently dead in the water. That's okay. And, whoa! Sonden, what'd you do? What'd you do, bud? Can you get control, please? Thank you. I grabbed the ladder, but he catapulted himself off into space. So, sure. That's fine. Good job, Sonden. Grab. Whoa! Okay. Sonden is on a carnival ride. Oh boy, and now we've got the bug where it won't turn him. Okay, I'm gonna have to do this the very, very old-fashioned way. This is gonna be very interesting. Okay. Sonden, I would like it if you would not do this. Oh man, that is so hard to get used to. So very, very hard. Because it's oriented to the Kerbal, right? You okay? Okay, I think he's okay for now. Climb on up. Board. Okay, there we go. So, we now have a docking port junior on here. We'll control from here. And we are going to target this docking port. Fantastic. Next, we're going to need to roll this ship. We're going to set this as our target. And we're going to control from here. Excellent. And we're going to orient towards that. Okay. That should help matters dramatically. And now we're going to do this. We'll orient here. Fantastic. Okay. Freeze physics. And not that. We're going to come back over here. I hit the wrong key there. I needed H and I hit J. Okay. In we go. we're going to need to do this number. There we go. SAS on, RCS off. And let's get this dance completed. Now we're going to need to keep some of the fuel for this tug so that it can get back to the Minimus station. I'm thinking docking forces will likely get what we need done here. Hopefully. Are those docking forces? Those didn't look like docking forces to me. That just looked like a ricochet. A good old-fashioned ricochet. Okay. Do that. Can we dock? Please? We're right here. That's definitely docking forces. But we're struggling with the Junior, I think. It's so small compared to the rest of this thing. Okay. Any moment now. There we go. Perfect. Now, what we're going to need to do here is we're going to need to refuel our header tanks. I'm going to turn SASs off here. So, header tanks first. So that is all of these tanks up here that we're going to look to fill first. I mean, realistically, we don't need to have all of them full, right? We can always refuel this again over Eve with our refueling system that we already have set up there. Or are setting up. So let's go ahead and do this. Now, note that this is also filling this tank. That is to be expected. And this is going to take a little bit, it would appear. We'll go ahead and time warp this. Okay. So this is just going to be these header tanks. And then... apparently that isn't working. Oh, because these are not stopped? I think because we're not warping. Or because we are warping, rather. Okay. So let's go ahead and fill all of these. Fantastic. Next, we need to do the center core. And let's take a look at what we've got there. So, we've got this one, and we've got this one. We'll fill both of those. We're still time warping. There we go. We'll fill both of those. Beautiful. And next, we've got these two tanks, and there's no way we get these fully full. And I don't think we even attempt to. Maybe we get them somewhere along the lines of, like, half of this. So take this down to, like, 700 remaining liquid fuel. Like that. Approximately. Just so that we have some liquid fuel remaining to get this thing back to Minimus. Okay, so we have some fuel up here. I'm not going to call it a lot. I'm not going to call it a lot at all. This is claiming to only be 5 seconds worth of burn. And that might be true if we weren't going to shut down all of these engines. And we are. So we're going to shut down all of these guys. We will need them again. But right now, we will shut down all of these outside engines. About like so. And now the question is, how much Delta V do we actually have? No, that's supposed to be shut down. Okay, there we go. So how much Delta V do we actually have here? Let's go ahead and detach this at this point. So we will grab this and undock. Our fuel tug will go ahead and separate a bit. There we go. And we'll just make sure our periapsis is solid. It is indeed. This one's periapsis isn't exactly solid, so we might want to go ahead and head over to prograde. Now, see, this is once again claiming like 900 meters per second here. We're definitely going to fix our periapsis here, and then we're going to look to make our way to, I think we're going to look to make our way to Minimus for right now. So we're going to fix our periapsis ever so slightly here so we don't touch the atmosphere. There we go. And then, once we are somewhere around here, we're going to need to try to push this out to Minimus. And that's Moon there. So we don't care about Moon. Where's Minimus going to be? Further than this, for sure. We'll set that as our target, and that's the target position at closest approach. That's pretty close, actually. So we can do something a bit like this. This keeps flickering back and forth here, and I don't like that. We need to, I think, accept that it's going to be the second one, not the first one. So, I mean, that's going to be just awful, right? That's going to be absolutely awful. But we can push this out over this way. That's only like 200 meters per second. We could also push it out over this way, which is going to be requiring quite a lot more delta V. You can see here, that's more than this stage, and I think that's more than we actually have, if I'm completely honest. We can escape the system, but I think that's a bad idea. I think that we need to go to Minimus. So the question is, that's only 90 meters per second. How many orbits would it take? That's a moon encounter. Okay, let's take those out of there. And that's our closest approach. Yeah, so we definitely need to have this come out over this way, right? And we want to push it out over this direction, like so. This is not the most efficient way to do this, to be clear. I was expecting more delta V than we had, thanks to the way that it was reading out. That's looking slightly better, but... Slightly better. I feel like we might not actually have this level of delta V. Like, this only says 407 right now, right? So, I'm not sure if we actually have that kind of delta V. How much delta V does this guy have left? Oh, that's plenty to get back to Minimus. Okay, I'm not worried about that. So, this does give us an encounter with Minimus. It's not as good as I would like. How much delta V is it going to require to do this? To just circularize. That is another 170. So if this is accurate, if we actually have 916 meters per second, then this is okay. I don't necessarily believe that we have that kind of delta V, though, if I'm honest, based on what we've experienced before. But let's go ahead and warp forward towards this and see how close we get. I'm probably going to hate this, in all honesty. This is claiming to only be a 9-second burn, which is definitely on the spicy side. And we're going to head up over here to T-minus 4.5 seconds and try to get ourselves a Minimus Intercept. And we'll see if this is at all accurate. At all accurate. I don't want you going this way. Why are you going this way? Okay. What is it doing? Why are we rotating this way? There's no reason to be rotating this way right now. What is with this gimbaling? Okay, so that's weird. Oh, that's really, really weird. I guess we'll have that gimbaling in our center off. And yeah, you can see here, the burn time, it's going to be more than 9 seconds. This is going up while we're burning at the maneuver. Is it just me, or is this craft really bugged? I feel like this craft is really bugged, and KSP doesn't know how to handle it. Okay, let's do this the old-fashioned way, I guess. And we don't seem to be able to do any sort of maneuvers. Oh, we can up here. Wait. Wait, that got us a Kerbal escape? I'm so confused. Why did that give us a Kerbal escape? So none of this fuel in here should have been used. That is correct. Okay. That's good to know. Oh, you know what? It's because we were controlling from this. We needed to control from this. I'm a moron. That would have helped. That would have helped a whole lot. Okay, I'm dumb. But then we already knew that. Let's see if we can maybe get ourselves a nice Minimus Encounter if we come out over this way or something. I mean, this isn't going to be enough Delta V. I can tell you that right now. Right now. What was that? A moon encounter? Not helpful. We really need it to be Minimus. Where even is Minimus at this time? Over here. Okay. So what if we just burn, like, up here and go pure retrograde in a really, really awkward manner? I mean, that's so much Delta V at this point. Well, that was my own mistake. I'm not going to claim that that was anything other than my own. I should have been controlling from here. So the question at this point is, how do we get into a Minimus Encounter? We had one, but I completely messed it up. And, ooh, hello. That's actually pretty close. That is pretty close. Hypothetically. Inclination? Yeah, inclination. Oh boy, that's quite the inclination. Okay, so we'd bring it down about like this. Now look at, that's only 250 Delta V there. So we would want to do that for now. And that brings it down to 240. Like that. That's a wacky inclination, no doubt about it. I would really like it to be down here. And I have no idea if we're going to have enough to break. How much will it cost to break? That's quite a bit. Minimal break is like 442. That is definitely very problematic. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put a cut in here, and I'm going to look for a better solution than this one. This is a solution, but I'm not going to claim that it's a great solution. We're going by Minimus very, very fast here, and we might be able to squeak something more efficient. So I'm going to look for that, and next episode, we are going to put this guy in orbit over Minimus to refuel it fully. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and I will see you all next time.